Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. Hello to everyone in the chat who have been patiently waiting. Apologies about the time, just a couple of things I need to sort out behind screen, which I don't want to get into, and I don't want to bore the life out of you. So let's not talk about that, and let's talk about some actual, real, authentic football news surrounded Manchester United currently. We're going to be talking about Bruno's new contract, well, the whole contract situation, what's going to be going on with it, when's it going to be announced, and in terms of what should we do in terms of what are we going to offer him. Will Bruno be happy with it? Also a little bit about his performance in the Euros. I want to talk about ZIRKZEE's agent, who's just like asking for the most ridiculous fucking fees, but apparently he's willing to do United discount. I don't know what all that kind of story is, so I'll definitely get into that. And also Branthwaite, a second bid set to go in pretty soon. So yeah, just realised again. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Can't be asked changing it on the thing on TikTok. So yeah, they're the main three stories that we're going to get into. Of course, there's other little bits as well that aren't as eye-catching, let's just say, in terms of news, but I will definitely get into that. And also as well, for the second half of the show, I want to say we'll just do a bit of a general chat. Any kind of questions, any topics you guys have got in your mind that you would love to get into, get them in the chat, and we'll talk about that as well. Because I always say it's not just my show; it is your show as well. So yeah, let's get right into it with this Bruno Fernandes contract situation. So this is coming from Samuel Luckhurst. Excuse me. Samuel Luckhurst, that's what I'm saying. I was choking on my words then. It's just because I don't like him as a journalist. So, Manchester United anticipate Bruno Fernandes' agent could approach them about a new deal later this year if Fernandes is not sold this summer. That last bit's a bit like, what? If Fernandes is not sold this summer. Now, we've heard rumblings that United are open to selling the majority of players apart from, I think it was Rasmus, Ahmad, Garnacho, Kobe, and maybe one more in there. I'm not sure. But apparently they're open for Bruno being sold by the sounds of things. I mean, I don't know if that's what they're trying to put out there, but it certainly seems like they're not in a rush. I thought this would be done prior to the Euros because I assumed I saw a lot of stuff saying he wants his kind of future resolved basically before he does go to the Euros. So I thought it would have been done, but I thought he would have offered a new contract. It's one of those ages where it's a sticky situation in it because he's almost 30, or he might even be 30. Let me double check his age. I'm pretty sure he's 29 off. I'm going to go 30. Let's have a look. 29. Yeah, so he's 29. It's getting to that age where when they get to that point, they want a long contract. Another 4 or 5 years, so they're kind of their future's settled. Then they don't have to worry about anything else. It's like, yeah, right. At least for the next 4 or 5 years, the last bit of my career, it's going to be at a decent level club in Europe. It's going to be competitive, but also as well on Bruno's side of things, I'm sure he's been at the club for 4 years now. He's witnessed some pretty shit moments and some pretty good moments as well. Obviously, he came in Ollie's second year, was it? I think I want to say. So he's been, he's been here 4 years. So 2019 he came in, didn't he? So yeah, maybe a year and a half or 2 years into it. And obviously he suffered all the kind of highs and lows with the Ollie and Rangnick season, which was kind of all over the place. And then just not really a stable. Well, we haven't been a stable club for a long time. So he'd gone through this kind of turbulent time since he's joined the club, and has without doubt been our best player post-Fergie, the best signing post-Fergie, 100%. And without him, actually, if you really deep it, you think without Bruno Fernandes for the past 4 years, where we would be in certain situations, honestly, it's unfathomable. I remember at one point, including myself, especially last season, I was like, why don't we drop him? Why do we just consistently play him and play him and play him? And you actually notice when Bruno isn't in the team, there is a giant creative hole there, a massive hole. So he's obviously probably our most important player. I think that's pretty fair to say. So it is a really difficult thing to do this because if, let's say someone comes in from Saudi now, right, and they offer, I don't know, 100 million quid, would that turn your head? Would you look at something like that? Would you accept it? And then would you go and reinvest it? Would the team be the same? Is the captain I don't know. I wouldn't roll the dice with this situation. I think you look at Bruno Fernandes last night. Look, I thought Portugal were... They didn't live up to expectations, I don't think, in the game. I don't think it was amazing. It was all right. But I thought it looked very rigid, a little bit wasteful in the kind of creative areas. I didn't think Bernardo Silva looked on it, but Bruno was their best player, and that's in a team full of stars. You're talking like Bernardo Silva, Cristiano Ronaldo, Rafael Leao, Cancelo, all these kind of guys, and Bruno was the best player in that team, 100%. He was really, really good again, and I'm expecting a very good tournament from him as well. Because you look at the kind of the twilight end towards the season under United last year, I thought he was starting to really peacock and come into form. And I'd been questioning him for the first 6 months. Anyone who's watched pros and cons on the channel would have saw, a lot of the time I was like, average, need something more from him. He's the captain. It's supposed to be our best player. You want more from him. And I think the second half of the season, he definitely did that. I'm sure if you look at the statistics, yeah, Steph says Vitinha looked good as well. Yeah, Vitinha was fabulous. I really like the retention of the ball. He's very intelligent. The way he can play through lines. Shields very well in transition. I like Vitinha. I just thought he was a bit rigid. And I think a lot of people, if you watched Portugal last night, they could have switched it up. You could have brought a Neto on. You could have brought a couple of players that were on the bench. Very rigid in their approach. I thought they could be a bit more flexible because Czech Republic were actually doing all right. I thought they looked relatively good against Portugal. But Bruno in general, I don't want to, go off on a tangent. Bruno in general, get this deal right. I don't know what would you offer him? 2 years with an extension? Will then the player come back and say, well, that's not really putting faith in me. I'm the captain of the club. I'm the best player at the club. And you're offering me 2 years. And then also, what wage are you going to give him? He's on £200,000 a week at the moment. So he's on less money than Mason Mount. He's on less money than Marcus Rashford. He's on less money than Casemiro. He's on the same as Antony. He's on the same as Harry Maguire. So you have to give him a significant increase on that. And he's absolutely warranted it. The guy's played every single game for us pretty much. He's hardly been injured. He's picked up, I think, 2 injuries or one illness as well. You can't say he's not hurt the contract in that sense. But I feel like Ineos want to go away from giving out these silly contracts and giving out, 5-year, 6-year deal to these, to like 29, 30-year-olds. Because we may find ourselves in 2 years' time saying, oh my God, Bruno Fernandes has fallen off. Or you look at the intensity that he plays at, the amount of fixtures that he plays, is that going to, at some point, going to catch up with his body? And then he starts declining rapidly. We've seen it with Casemiro. Casemiro, one of the best defensive midfielders of our generation, right? Look at the decline he had. Some people will say that's down to tactics and the way we were setting up and blah, blah, blah. And, whatever. It is what it is. I get what you're saying. But there is no doubt he's declining. 100%. So what's to say, Bruno, it can't happen the same with Bruno. We could be in 2 years' time and say, oh, why did we give Bruno that contract? 300 grand a week. That's fucking pathetic. That's ridiculous and blah, blah, blah. So they need to be careful. I think they need to probably meet somewhere in the middle there for me with this Bruno thing. Yeah, but just my opinion. Valentine, he's 30, mate. 2 years is enough. Yeah, I agree. 2 years or maybe an option for an extra would be ideal, in my opinion. In terms of what you have to pay him the same as, he's the best player at the club and he's the captain. So in that sense, if from Bruno's standpoint, he should be paid the most, really. I don't think he'll push for that. I think he'll probably want around the 300 mark. He'll probably want a 250, 300 mark at least, which he's earned. I would argue against it had we not given out stupid wages anyway. So by doing that, again, this is a legacy of like Woodward and Arnold and all these guys. By doing that, you then set the benchmark for other players who are performing better. Because then they can turn around and they could say, well, Rashford's on 300 grand a week. He scored 6 goals last season. And you want to offer me 250? Absolutely not. I'm the best player. I'm the captain. I should be earning at least the same amount, if not more, if you was very demanding. So on that front, I understand it. Where do you think United will finish in the league? Top 4 next season. Probably competing for 4th or 5th. Judging right now of the season that we've just had, depending on the transfers that we bring through the door, I would probably say that, yeah. Right, what's everyone saying in the chat? Smash a like on the video, you absolute legends, and hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Everyone having a chat, love to see that. All the community going back and forth. What are you having for tea? No, I'm joking. No one's put that, but it's nice to see people having a chat. Dino saying we should do what Sir Alex used to do with an extra year. Excuse me. We should do what Sir Alex used to do with an extra year if they played well during the season for players over 30. Yeah, why not? Why not? I'm not saying I'm not saying Bruno's going to dramatically fall off a cliff, but it's, you know, there's potential for it to happen. Let's be serious. The guy is inhuman. Like the amount of games he plays, you'd have to think at some point it will catch up with him. January window with Ole, yeah. Well, I'd give him another year, but he does need to have his wages increased, says Richard. Abibe, Bruno, best of the best for United. I like Bruno United. Also transfer ZIRKZEE, Gay, Humlin, Tadibo, Kirkes. Vitinha, look, yeah, sorry, I read that out. Big up Shreyas. Shreyas in the chat. Doesn't his contract run out in 2026? I think so. Yeah, I think you might be right there. Let's have a look at his contract situation. It's 2026 or 2027. Yeah, 2027 it is. So he's got a couple of years on it. But again, you need to talk. You start talking about extensions, don't you, when it gets to that point, when they've got a year. When they've got a couple of years left. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Extend it by a couple of years, and maybe giving him an option to say, you know, because if he's still performing to this level now, you know, in 3 years' time, you won't be moaning, will you? Because like, he's still a phenomenal player. He's world class, Bruno. I said this to my mate. He was arguing about De Bruyne and Bruno. I was like, and ages ago, he used to say, oh, Bruno's a better player and blah, blah, blah. He's not. He's not a better player than Kevin De Bruyne. But sorry. He's not a better player than Bruno, than De Bruyne. But he's not far away. He's definitely up there in terms of what he puts out for the team. You know, oh, why my camera crash, man? Are we all right? Yeah, I'm good. Sorry about that. What in terms of the output that he has for United and the significance he has in the Premier League, he's right up there. I'm like I said, looking for Portugal last night. He was Portugal's best player, 100%. He was making things happen. You know, both feet is incredible. The production that he has, the output, fantastic, fantastic. So yeah, so people saying hay fever in the chat. Honestly, it's absolutely killing me at the minute. Absolutely killing me. Apologies about the stream crashing a little bit there. Is Bruno staying? At least for the next couple of years, he is. I won't worry about him leaving or anything like that. But, yeah, he needs to handle this contract situation, you know, in a professional manner, I want to say. Right, should we talk about ZIRKZEE's agent? Because there's a little bit of news coming in about that. I thought it was interesting because a lot of people saying this, you know, the Italian journalists are saying, you know, it's looking like AC Milan are favourites, but then you've got a couple of other journalists saying that, well, if United pay, well, Di Marzio said if United pay what the agent wants, and they're going to get him, and there's nothing AC Milan can do about it. And it was a little bit, I'm just trying to find the news now on his agent. There was like a little, someone dropped it before, like a little gem on him. Oh, there it is. Let me read it out. So, Joshua ZIRKZEE's agent, Kia Jubarikan, has told AC Milan they must close the deal or the discussion will be over. United's first contact with him was positive, with the agent willing to give a discount on any commission due to their positive relationship. Now, I don't know if he don't have a great relationship with AC Milan and whatever that reason is for. Me and Sam kind of discussed this yesterday a bit in depth, whilst, you know, literally just as David Ornstein kind of dropped the bombshell with the ZIRKZEE news. But apparently the agent's asking for about 10 to 30 million quid for this transfer for ZIRKZEE, which is like a third of what we're actually buying him for. So we're paying like £34 million release clause. He wants 13 million of that. That is quite literally a third, isn't it? Or just under a third, I think, of his transfer fee, which is absolutely outrageous. And to be honest, when is it going to get to a point when they just start demanding like half of what the transfer fee is? Because I imagine how he's pitching it to other clubs at the minute. He's saying, right, look, you're getting a £50 million player here for a release clause that's going to cost you 34 million quid. So if you want me to sanction this deal and you want me to put this through and sway it towards yourselves, I want some decent commission. Decent commission, in my opinion, maybe a couple of £1 million, Yeah, I'd be like, all right, okay, that's fine. Not 13 million quid. That's how much we paid for Malacia. That's a player in itself. So I don't know how United are gonna, he's saying he's willing to do discount on the thing. What's discount? Is it 50%? Is it 70%? Are you still going to be paying 6-7 million to the agent? In that sense, does that then become worth it? Because if you're paying 34 million quid for his release clause, you add 6 million onto that, it becomes a 40 million pound package. For a player like ZIRKZEE with the potential that he's got, I think it's probably worth it. And just whilst I've got all your attention at the moment, a video on Joshua ZIRKZEE is going out in terms of in-depth for members only. So members are going to get that earlier, 2 days, and it's a good video, very good video. It's recorded, just needs editing, but it's a structured video in terms of his, his youth career, his time at Bayern Munich, the other kind of loan spells that he's had, his development at Bologna, and then where he's at today and what type of player he is and all that kind of stuff. So for members, you'll get that early, of course. I'm excited about that video because I think it's very, very good, if I do say so myself. So yeah, just to kind of plug that whilst I've got you here in a minute. That's going to be an interesting video. But yeah, the deal's heating up at the minute. It's up to United now if we want to kind of, AC Milan could kind of strike it and go, you know what, fuck it, we'll just pay it. We'll just pay it. Because they've had Olivier Giroud, who's obviously was quite a big player for them. I think he's going to America. So they've got a striker hole there. They've only got Leao who could play there, but he isn't like predominantly a number 9. And then they have Jovic as well, who's the striker. So they want, they want a decent prodigy there as your number 9, and they see ZIRKZEE as someone who can fit that bill. But again, it's some kind of strenuous relationship there. I don't know what the crack is or what's going on with that. So United trying to box clever in the market, and hallelujah, thank God, right? Because we've, used that. Right now we probably look at Rasmus. I love Rasmus. I think he's a fabulous player. But at the time, there was no way he was worth 70 million quid. United got held over a barrel. And it's a similar deal with ZIRKZEE. If you look at ZIRKZEE's stats, actually, it's very similar to Højlund. It's not too, it's not too far away. So we can't be paying, well, we're not going to pay 70 million quid anyway because there is a release clause. Luckily, if there wasn't a release clause, I don't even think we'd be sniffing near this player, to be honest. Ineos trying to box clever. You've seen as well with the Branthwaite deal, which I'm going to speak about in a minute. The first bid that they went in with, 35 million plus 8 in add-ons was never, ever going to get accepted by Everton. That's like half of what they want. So by lowballing it, you try to get the price down. Whether they will or not, or whether they will be successful, I don't know. But yeah, we'll speak about Branthwaite in a minute. I really like ZIRKZEE. I'm trying my best not to go into, why I like him and what type of player he is, because there's a full video on that. So I'll keep it a little bit basic on this one. But I mentioned, 2-3 months ago when we was doing like transfer targets and what kind of players we should bring in, ZIRKZEE was on the list for me because I think he's a phenomenal talent. Although someone on TikTok on the video was like, this guy didn't even know who he was a week ago. Do your research, mate. Have a look on the YouTube channel. Go watch, plenty of shows. Spoken about him numerous times as being... originally, it was Sesko. And then I kind of came to the point that, Sesko is very similar to Højlund in that sense. And maybe you want a different profile. As soon as I said that, I was like, ZIRKZEE. Let's see what this kid's all about. And I think, the work that Thiago Motta, who was obviously the Bologna boss, he's now managing Juventus. The work that he's done with him individually, very, very good. Very good. I know he's gone to the Euros now as well, because I think someone got injured. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, hopefully he might get some game time in the Euros, and you might get a proper look at him if you haven't watched him before. But I think I like him, man. I really, really like him. Americans know more about football than the English by far. That doesn't even deserve a reply. I'm not even going to go in. I'm not even going to go in on Americans because you're starting a war there. Oh my God, I hate hay fever, man. I think Bruno's a better player, better stats over the last 4 seasons, and better on the international stage too. Just De Bruyne plays for City. Wow, very strong. That's what Tevez's agent. Why is no one capping these agent fees? I don't know. There needs to be some kind of regulation there, don't there? Because it's getting out of hand. ZIRKZEE gives me Berbatov vibes, proper baller, but agent fees worry me. Yeah, from a technical standpoint, he's good. Very, very good, and very skillful as well for his size. ZIRKZEE also huge physical presence. 23 watching currently in a minute. Make sure you smash that like button, please, and hit the subscribe button as well. I want to talk about brand flakes now. I'm not on about the bowl of cereal. You all know I'm on about. Jarrad Branthwaite, a second bid supposedly, supposed to be going in for Branthwaite. What that's going to be, I mean, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. I don't know what they're going to offer. They're going to go 40 plus add-ons, or I'm not sure. I know the Muppeteers did a video yesterday, you know, speaking in depth about this, and obviously has more information in that sense. But he was saying it's going to go in. Obviously, it's going to be raised to what it was, because the first initial bid was just, you know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's never going to... That was never, ever going to entice Everton, 35 plus 8 in add-ons. I mean, my friend's an Everton fan who we've had on the show before, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know him. And he was saying, you know, 50 million, he's joking. We want 70. And he was like, in terms of what Branthwaite means to them, that's the way he kind of put it to me from his perspective. You know, what he means to Everton fans, he's worth 70 million. So you can't argue in that sense. You know, it's like Bruno. We was just talking about Bruno Fernandes then, and we was like, you know, even if a 70 mil bid came in, 80 mil, we're like, oh, is he worth more to us than that at the minute? You know, the captain of the club? Probably. So I understand it from his perspective and Everton fans' perspective. But look, we've agreed personal terms with him, so the player's obviously keen on the move. I don't think... The thing about Everton that keeps getting mentioned is the FFP, right? And how much they need to sell and blah, blah, blah. And I was listening to a journalist from The Athletic yesterday who covers Everton, and he was saying it's not as bad as everyone's reporting. Now, whether he's putting that out there to try deflect from it a little bit and try put some information out there like, well, maybe you have to offer more. I don't know. I don't know if he's being briefed on that or whatever. But he's saying it's not as bad as everyone thinks. You know, they don't have to, you know, fucking sell for a ridiculous price. How true that is, I don't know. I would probably trust a journalist around The Athletic who covers Everton more than the majority of people. So, in that sense, you know, maybe they will be firm with it. Maybe they will get 50 plus 10 and we eventually meet there. I don't think we should ever pay 70 million for Branthwaite. I don't think we should get near there. Even 60 plus 10. None of that. I think the last offer we should probably put in is 50, but with maybe a couple of difficult add-ons in there to hit 60. You know, if we get back into the Champions League, if we win a trophy, etc., 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 then it's worth it, because you look at the 10 in add-ons, you're like, oh yeah, absolutely, that's fine. So, in that sense, yeah, I think it's a difficult deal to do at the minute. But the difference is this time, we have other players on a list. We're not just going spearheading for one player, like an Anthony or like a Maguire, where it's like we're just upping 5 mil every single time until we get to a point where it's like, oh, 80 mil. Oh, yeah, we'll accept that now. We think that's probably a good offer to do. So we can actually have a bit of dominance in the market and just say, look, we've got other targets. We can speak to Lenny Yoro. Tadebo's a very easy deal to do. We want this player, of course, but if you're not even willing to come down a little bit, what's the point in even having a conversation? So the next bid to put in, I mean, if you put 35 plus 8 in add-ons, maybe they'll do, I don't know, 42 plus 8. And then the whole package then, and the way they'll describe it is, it's a £50 million bid for the player. That's the way it'll be presented. And I still think Everton are going to reject that. So then it gets to a point like, right, do we do 50 plus 10, or do we walk away and go for a Lenny Yoro? Or is Real Madrid pushing for Lenny Yoro now, and it makes it more difficult? And then do we have to kind of pivot and go towards Tadebo, and then maybe buy a couple of centre-backs? I don't know, because is Tadebo going to be your main centre-back if he comes in? What's going to happen with the other centre-backs? Is Lindelof going to leave to go back and reunite with Jose Mourinho at Fenerbahce? Will Maguire end up leaving? Will Lissandro be able to stay fit? I think we've got a bit of a centre-back pickle. I do. It worries me slightly. Just a little bit. Offer 40 mil with 7 add-ons and then sell them Maguire for 20. I mean, in an ideal world, honestly, I would probably, if we could. Oh, why is it crashing again? If we could, right? Sorry, 1 second. Let me just sort that out, because the cable's going all fucking wobbly. In an ideal world, if you could swap Maguire or put Maguire as part of the package, because let's be honest, if Maguire went to Everton, he would be a star there. He'd be phenomenal. Probably captain level. Him and Tarkowski at centre-back, because they sit deep anyway. In a Sean Dyche system, he would be perfect for that. Honestly, he'd be a monster in that system. But, obviously, there's not longevity in it, because the guy is 30. You know? So, you know, if that was something Maguire would be willing to do, then yeah. But also, he's on 200 grand a week. So, them kind of deals very, very rarely happen. Very rarely happen. But it's not a bad idea. Would you want ZIRKZEE? Yeah, we're dropping a video on the channel on ZIRKZEE. So if you're not subscribed to Real Reds Talk and you're on TikTok right now watching this and you like football content and you want to know a bit more about Joshua ZIRKZEE, what type of player he is, his background, his youth career, all the loan spells that he's had as well, that video is dropping at some point, maybe today. Maybe today. And that's for members a couple days early specifically. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to drop that video. It's been in the works. It's all it's scripted. The graphics done. It's been filmed. It just needs editing and then putting out, basically. And we've also got another members video dropping. I don't know if Sam's still in the chat. Me and Sam did a video on individual youth talents that we've got at the club who we think can break into the next team. And that's another video for members as well. So you lot are lucky. Lucky. We're putting as much content as we can out for the members specifically. Because we appreciate the support and everything. So really, really looking forward to that. But that's a very long-winded answer to do I want Joshua ZIRKZEE? And the answer is yeah. I think he's a phenomenal player. Yeah. If we offer 50 and he gets rejected, we should walk away. I agree. I agree. It's time now to start developing a reputation in Europe that we're not going to be held over a barrel and we're not going to be mugged off like we have with nearly every single deal post-Fergie. And you do that by having a firm stance and having a firm level of what you're going to go to. If you listen to Omar Barada when he was at City, and he's speaking about Maguire and a couple of other players, he's like, we're not going past 50. We're not doing it. Because then then, when you deal with the next club, they're like, oh, well, they actually mean what they say, because the last deal, that was publicly open. There was a lot of pressure from the fans to say, go one more, bid an extra 10 mil, and he stood firm, and he was like, no, we're not doing it. So it's either this, or we're willing to talk a little bit, if it's a little bit of wiggle room, or we move on to the next target. And that's how it should be. You become a shrewd team. You become someone who's, like I said, doesn't get held over a barrel. You develop a reputation. At the moment, our reputation is in the fucking pan because of the way we've dealt with deals. People are publicly seeing John Murtaugh and Richard Arnold flying back and forth to Barcelona 5 times to not get a deal over the line. People are seeing John Murtaugh fly to Turin to get mugged off by Rabiot's mum about wage demands. People are seeing the Anthony deal and saying, oh, we can get more out of this. We can get more change out of this. United come calling. We can demand as much as we want. Time to change that reputation. Time to change it. And Ineos will know that. And they'll brief that out. And you've already seen briefs coming out anyway. They're not going to get held over a barrel. So I'm absolutely behind that. If Ineos want to do it, fantastic, phenomenal. Music to my ears. Now, last part of the show, I thought there was some news coming out about ZIRKZEE there, but it's McKenna. The Aston Villa deal that's ongoing. That's interesting. Manchester United keen to do business early in the transfer window, expected to improve. Oh, I've already discussed that. That's from Simon Stone. So, yeah, we've already spoken about that. Yeah, last part of the show, last 5 minutes. Any questions, any topics that I've missed that you want to discuss, get them in the chat now and we'll kind of blitz through it for the next couple of minutes. TalkSport final boss, apparently. I love that. We're giving him a new deal, right? I don't know. Bro's not even from Manchester. I mean, if this isn't a Mancunian accent, mate, I don't know what you're listening to. You're probably from London yourself if you're thinking that. I am from Salford, mate. I live 5 minutes down the road from Old Trafford. So to say bro's not even from I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you're smoking. You saw we had contacted 4 midfielders in the last 48 hours. Do you know who? Yeah, interesting. I'm glad you mentioned that, Sanderno. Very, very good. You just kind of sparked my brain a little bit there. I saw that from Romano, wasn't it? We're starting to speak for the midfielders now. The 4 midfielders, if I was to take a guess, and from players that I've read up on, João Neves, Shumland, maybe I'll list 5 who I think United are in for. So João Neves, Shumland, Amadou Onana, maybe a couple of surprise options like a Rabiot, for example, because his contract's running out. Eric Ten Hag's a big fan of him as well. I'm trying to think who else we've been linked with. It's difficult because centre-backs, you can do the list straight away. Strikers, you also know. Ivan Toney, Jonathan David, Sesko, but obviously staying now. And then there's ZIRKZEE as well. But then the midfield, I think Neves, Homeland, but both Neves' release clause is 100 mil. So United are never, ever going to pay that. Shumland, I think, has an 80 mil release clause. They're not going to pay that. Amadou Onana is going to cost you an arm and a leg because Everton paid about 50 mil for him. And you know how they're being with Branthwaite at the minute. So, I don't know. It's a tough one, that. What do you guys think? What midfielder were we going for? You won't sign, no one, won't spend any money. Well, that's very unlikely, isn't it? Very unlikely. Ed Woodshed saying we can do things in the market unlike other clubs gave us a complete unrealistic reputation. Yeah, exactly. Salford, Greater Manchester, says Richard. Apologies, yeah, Greater Manchester, Salford. Peter Worry Karuki, Peter Worry Karuki, what a name. That's probably the longest name we've ever had in the chat, so you're breaking records there. Who will be the partner of Copy Mania next season? Now, I don't know in terms of individual, but in terms of what profile I would go for, I'm talking a ball winner, someone who's physical. Amadou Onana would be perfect. Or even an N'Golo Kante. Did you see him for France the other day? Kante. Still got it, by the way. Why is he in Saudi? Why is he in Saudi Arabia? He's still a top player in. I'm not saying go and sign Kante, but I'm saying Kante a couple years ago alongside Kobe Mainoo would be perfect. You need a ball winner. You need someone who's aggressive, physical, but decent on the ball as well. And that's kind of like a big list for a player. But that is someone who we need. And who that's going to be, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I love João Neves to go. I do, but it ain't happening. Too expensive. Casemiro to stay. Heard rumours he wants to. It depends on the style of play, though. If you're going to play how you played last season, Casemiro's a lost fish in the sea. He is. And if you keep it more watertight and be a bit more pragmatic in your approach, maybe he'll have a chance. I've seen stuff like he wants to prove he's the best defensive midfielder in the world. And I love that attitude. I love the confidence. But last season, he was fucking awful. Absolutely awful. Never going to be dominant club again. Need new owners. You're done. Amadou Onana for sure. I like Onana. I'm a fan of Onana. I think we'll keep Casemiro, says Grace. McMillan says, I think Amrabat will stay. Casemiro got legs of lard. Needs to go. I don't know if Amrabat will stay. I want Amrabat to stay. I think it would make sense to keep him. You know, you're talking, 12 mil? For like, that's just a no-brainer for me personally. But we don't know, this Ineos regime's completely different, man, from the norm, from what we usually do. So there could be a couple of surprises. There could be players that you've not even heard of. It could be someone from South America that they bring in. Remember Moises Caicedo, 5 million, that we had an opportunity to sign and we didn't end up bringing him in. So I don't know, they might be doing the due diligence in other countries and sign a player that we've never even heard of before, and he might turn out to be a star. That could well happen. You won't get Onana. You're going to go youth again with your sack Ten Hag and get Southgate. The knowledge for some people in TikTok is honestly either one, they're trolling, or two, they just don't have it. They do not watch Man United. Sometimes I see comments, I'm just like, they're going to get rid of Erik Ten Hag. Okay. They're going to give him a new deal, more to the point. And judging off Southgate's performance against Serbia, if you think that's the guy to lead you to the next glory and bring you back to the top of the Premier League, you are smoking strong substances, because I don't know what to tell you if you think that's the guy. Look at the team that he's got at his disposal. And he was on the back foot against Serbia for 45 minutes. You know. Nah, not having it. Fofana would be a good deal. Yeah, that's another one. Fofana, I didn't even mention him. Good shout, McMillan. 25 million from Monaco. But again, it has that feeling about it. Do you remember Bakayoko? Who came? He was from Monaco, wasn't he? French midfielder, defensive midfielder. A lot of hype around him. Went to Chelsea. Completely flopped. Completely flopped. I'm not saying Fofana's going to follow the same footsteps, but sometimes I feel like them kind of signings get overhyped just for the sake of it. But I do like Fofana. And he can play both. He could be an 8, he could be a 6. I think you need a dominant midfielder, a dominant 6, someone who specialises in that area, for me personally. Not someone who kind of pivots in between. And that was kind of some of the concerns I had about João Neves as well, because he's not a pure 6. He's very good in terms of winning the ball, interceptions. He's fantastic. But I wouldn't say he's a pure 6. I'd say, again, he's a bit more of a hybrid as well. He's not a Rodri, let's say, in that sense. Or a Tumina, for example. Wait, there's no breaking news then. If you would have tuned in at the start, you would have heard the breaking news about Bruno Fernandes. Don't just come in, 2/3 of the way through a stream and say, oh, there's no breaking news then. I obviously spoken about it at the start. Your opinion on centre-back? We get Branthwaite and we probably get Todibo, depending on the price. because Tadebo's quoted for around 30 mil. It's an easy deal to do. He plays at Nice. Ratcliffe owns Nice currently. I think the second centre-back depends on who we sell. So obviously we're going to keep Lissandro. I think Johnny Evans is signed on for another year. I'm guessing Maguire's going to stay. So that's 3 centre-backs. They'll probably bring Branthwaite through the door. That's 4. But maybe if a Victor Lindelof goes or something like that, they'll bring in a Tadebo. But yeah, the budget's only going to stretch so many ways. It just depends what they spend on other players as well, in my opinion. João Neves is unrealistic due to the price tag. I agree, mate. Yeah. Johnny Evans, big club, give me a break. A lot of people laughing at Johnny Evans. For people in the YouTube right now in the chat and even in the TikTok, correct me if I'm wrong. Number one, a lot of people were turning their nose up when we signed Johnny Evans on a 1-year deal, right? And rightfully so, I understand it. Didn't have a club, was training with us. Everyone's like, what the fuck? And was only supposed to play about 5 to 10 games max. Did he not overachieve in his first season with United? Did he not actually perform pretty well in a majority of games, considering his age? I'm not saying that's a reason to give him another season, but he surprised me how well he performed. I have to be honest. And maybe I'm in the minority with that one, but I thought he did well. Some people are talking about him being the best signing of the season. Over Onana, over Højlund, over these guys. So people can laugh at it, but Johnny did a good job. There's this kind of narrative that people get put about because he's 35, is because it's free. It's not a, you know, an interesting deal, or he's not a good player. It's like, come on, man. We need at least 8 players. Probably. Johnny Watson, he was good. Johnny Watson, he was watching, talking about me every day in the summertime. Sorry, I'll stop that. Evans is not good enough. I'm not saying he should be... Right, I think you're getting this twisted here. I'm not saying he should be a starting centre-back. I'm just saying, as depth, for someone to come on, he was good. He was all right. He performed well. I'm not saying he should be our starting centre-back and we should keep him forever. But it's not the worst thing in the world, keeping him, given everything that's going on at centre-back. I'm not worried about losing out on the lease. I think Ahmad is more than capable in that role. Jones, Kyle, me and you, great minds think alike. I've said this about Ahmad for donkey's years. Even when he came over from the Atalanta Academy, this kid, I've always believed in his potential. I've looked at him. I thought every time I've seen him, he's looked good. He had a tricky loan spell at Rangers, killed it at Sunderland, deserved his opportunity way before he even got it under Ten Hag. Because Anthony was stinking out the place. Forson didn't pull up any trees, and neither did Pellistri. So he deserved the chance before he actually got it. But Ahmad is a phenomenal talent, and I think they're just starting to realise that now. But we as a community on Real Reds Talk have been saying this for ages, have we not? Most of the people in the chat in a minute have been saying that currently. So, yeah, I'm glad it's coming to fruition. Absolutely. Rightio, people, I shall leave it at that. We're going to be live tonight again at 7 o'clock with the England preview. Of course, we play Denmark tomorrow night, so we're going to have the preview tonight. And also, as well, we've got a fun, interactive game planned towards the end. So that's for you guys specifically in the community and you guys in the chat. So that'll be Euro-themed. Guess the... I'm not going to say what it is. It'll be guess the ... And we'll do that towards the end of the show, but we'll get the preview out of the way first, and then we'll discuss that. There's going to be a couple of the lads on tonight. Excited to get into it. Excited to see you lot. Macmillan, Nick, you got to go audition for Britain's Got Talent, dude. The world needs to see your voice on the world stage. I don't think... To be honest, some of the people I've seen on Britain's Got Talent, I could smash that. Compared to... I've seen some people go on. If you go back and watch, right, if you've got a spare 5-10 minutes... Go and watch some of the worst X Factor auditions. And these people might know this reference, right? There are 2 guys who go on and they do Peter Andre, and it is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. You've got one guy who's singing and he's like proper cringy getting into it. And then the other guy's just doing like ad-libs and filling in for him. So you got one guy going, I stop and stare at you, walking down the shore, and giving all these kind of faces. And his mate still next to him is going, I stare at you. Down the shore, doing some like weird kind of Jamaican He's not even Jamaican. He's just like very, very bizarre. So yeah, if that's the standard that they're having on that show, I reckon I could smash it personally. And Seb Jones, he knows it. These guys, if you've got 5-10 minutes spare, Ant and Seb X Factor audition, go and watch that. I wish I could play it right now. I'd probably get done for copyright. I wish I could play it on here. because I've got the internet tab up, but I'll probably, yeah, the show will probably get striked for copyright, so I can't put it on. But this guy knows. This guy, come on, move your body. Yes, that's the one. That is the one. Oh my God, yeah. Come on, move your body now. What a guy. What a guy. Bruno, so shit, couldn't even get one shot on target. Oh my God. Ah, Bruno, my captain. That's more like it, Mr. North Wales. So yeah, what a way to end the show. Speaking about Ant and Seb from the X Factor. You never know how these shows are going to go. That's the beauty of it. I shall leave it at that. Please do leave a like on the video for us. Subscribe to Real Reds Talk. The link is in the description if you're on TikTok. Of course, if you're on YouTube, you know where it's at. We're going to have a video dropping on Joshua ZIRKZEE very, very soon. We've got the England preview tonight, as well as some interactive stuff. Loads of stuff going on the channel. So what are you doing? Smash that like, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you.